Welcome to the FeelsCast. I'm Adam.
And I'm Steffi.
And today's topic is sports anime.
Sports anime.
Yeah. Kind of the reason we chose sports to be our first one is because this is the inspiration for this entire podcast.
Because I cry about it a lot.
That. We were just kind of talking about it casually, and one of us made the joke, like, we could make a podcast just us talking about dumb sports anime stuff.
And by talking, I mean me crying.
And here we are.
I haven't started crying yet, but I have tissues.
Give it like 20 minutes.
More like 5 seconds. My sports boys. And maybe girls.
No, there's never girls.
There was that one that you watched. What was it? The Baby Steps? Wasn't that about girls?
No? I mean, there is female tennis in it.
Yeah.
But it's not about female tennis.
Oh, wow.
But it's probably the most accurate depiction of real people tennis.
Real people tennis. You mean Prince of Tennis isn't accurate?
Speaking of Prince of Tennis, that was kind of one of our big first sports shows that we watched a lot of.
It was definitely mine, but it was also high school, so there was a lot to forgive during that time period that I could forgive anyway.
Looking back, the show is honestly terrible.
What do you mean? It's great. It's still great.
No.
How dare you? How dare you? No, during that time was pretty bad though, because I was obsessed. The character songs and the musics and everything. I had 50 files of Prince of Tennis things. I'm just and I still have them, and every time I look at that, I'm just God, what the fuck was I thinking?
You were the hardcore Prince of Tennis fangirl. You were addicted to pot.
I really was. This is why I don't remember high school.
Yeah, there was just so much pot.
So much pot.
I think I don't remember a lot of Prince of Tennis anymore, but I have random things I cannot get out of my head.
For example,
Tezuka Zone. I can't. That's the only thing that's the only actual move I remember from that entire game, the entire series. But it's the best one. Tezuka Zone, and then he kills the dinosaurs in that one movie for some reason while doing it.
I remember I really enjoyed the little Prince of Tennis shorts where they were all chibis, and they just made everything that much more better because when they call out the moves, it was just wait, that's not how it works, but sure.
Tezuka Zone is being used to clean the dishes. Thumbs up.
Pretty sure that he used it to divert a pot from flying into someone, and it ended up hitting him instead with the Tezuka Zone, because I remember when they did the little chibi shorts, they were all a family, and Tezuka was a dad or something.
I remember that.
Yeah, right?
What is this?
I love
God.
it.
I can't.
And I really like how sometimes in the show they're oh, it's about tennis, but Ryoma pissed off the basketball team and now they're doing free shots, but he's doing it with a tennis ball. That makes sense, sure. He's good at tennis, not basketball, but he's still gonna duel with the captain of the basketball team.
I remember they had the outside of tennis games, they had the bowling episode, and then the one guy who was all smart is had his perfect strategy, but failed because he used a Lego ball or something.
I remember this. It was pretty great.
They had the pool hall episode where they were actual kind of cool for a split second, and then it got lame because of them. And
then they were trying to incorporate their tennis moves into the pool table.
Yeah.
I was just what are you doing?
That's not how
I remember this one episode where this kid in the ping pong club was super jealous of Ryoma because he was oh, what's with this Ryoma kid just because he's 12 and good at tennis? I'm good at ping pong. I'm okay, you be good at ping pong. Ryoma's doing tennis.
That kid.
How does this correlate with your life at all?
That kid grew up to be the main character of Ping Pong, the animation. An anime about ping pong.
Pretty sure you did. I'm pretty sure.
That kind of makes sense because Ping Pong, the animation, is literally the exact opposite of Prince of Tennis. Because Prince of Tennis is Super Saiyans playing tennis.
Yeah.
But it's crisply animated, it's shonen, it's great.
Yeah, it's great. Which I think this is why it attracted so many people. For the dudes,
right,
quote unquote, because girls could be into it, blah 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 blah.
But it's a shonen thing. It's a shonen.
It has the manga. Shonen qualities.
And it's within Shonen Jump.
Bishonens in there too for eye candy if you're into that. And then there's 2 girls.
There's one of them's a grandmother.
Oh no, then there's 3.
Oh.
Remember the fangirl who's like super into the pigtails. And then there's the coach's granddaughter who's super quiet and into Ryoma. And then there's the grandma who's not hot because she's a grandma. Yeah. Unless you're into old people, which, I mean, I'm not here to judge. This is a judge-free zone. No, but I'm a little bit judging.
Don't lie to people.
I'm judging you, but I only judge you.
Fair. Yeah, Ping Pong, on the other hand, is weirdly animated. Like, the whole show is...
Yeah, I've seen it.
It's I want to say it's almost rotoscoped, but that's a different series.
It felt like it was just drawn and then they put it through a filter.
Yeah, like there's no, like, Prince of Tennis, even though they're doing crazy stuff, they have physical human limitations on what they're doing. Like, the guy's arm won't, like, grow giant dramatically.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the game is insane. What they're doing is insane. But the animation...
They can defy physics.
Yeah.
But their bodies will not mutate.
Stupid because,
because they're not actually superhumans.
They have to, still look pretty for the camera.
Duh, yeah.
Ping Pong is, like, the other end where it's like, they're looking insane, but they're actually doing, like, regular ping pong stuff. There's no, like, I'm doing the cross-court Tesga zone. It's just, no, I'm just hitting it, but it's, in my mind, it's super dramatic and stuff, because that's how it feels when you're playing a sport.
That makes sense, yeah. Probably also why I couldn't get into it.
Yeah, me neither. I watched, like, 2 episodes.
I've seen, like, clips of it. I'm just like, yeah, no, this is not a sports anime I'm into.
Like, I respect it, but I can't actually like it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say, like, it's terrible, because I didn't watch it enough to say it's terrible. I'm just not into it.
And I've heard it's fantastic, but...
It probably is. Like, I'm sure if I gave it a chance, I'd probably like it, but... Here I am, not giving it a chance.
And sitting right in the middle of those 2 very extremes is Baby Steps, which is, I think, probably my favorite tennis anime.
I've only watched Prince of Tennis because after that, I kind of feel like...
Everything else is, like, a terrible step back.
Yeah, a little bit. Like, not even that, it's just because I think Prince of Tennis ruined me, basically.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like,
that's fair.
After watching Prince of Tennis, I didn't watch another sports anime for literally years.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't get back into it until, like, last summer or the summer before that.
Yeah, like, very recently.
Yeah, and that was also when, like, a lot of sports animes were kicking off, like Haikyuu.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other one? Kuroko?
Or Kuroko no Basket, or the basketball of which Kuroko plays.
Yeah, and then Yoa, the bike one.
Yeah, Musha Pedal.
Yeah.
All of which I actually really like.
I know, it's actually really interesting to get back into sports and then look at it. Because when I was watching it during our time, it was like early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
So the animation was different, and you can tell when an anime is old, not just by the animation, but also by the music, because you can hear it's like a lot more bells, and it sounds much more like it just sounds different. And then when you hear it now, it's like, oh man, you hear all these guitar riffs in there, and it's just like so rocking.
Yeah, they now have, I almost want to say they now have the money to actually have music incorporated.
Not the money, but I would say the technology.
Yeah, just the mixing,
like just the materials, just to have that like better equipment to do it. Whereas before it's just like, oh, we have these musicians and we're just gonna put it in. And now it's like, oh, we have these musicians, but we also have all this other crap that we can use in our anime to make it seem so much better.
Yeah. No, it's definitely an improvement to the genre as a whole. Like, Yamusha Pedal would not be as good as it is without soundtrack. Because just...
I think that's the only soundtrack it needs.
That's... The princess song in Yamusha Pedal is amazing.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, Yamusha Pedal is about cycling. It's about a nerd who once joined his school's anime club, but that club shut down like the year before or something. So he's going to like do his best to make that anime club come to fruition and make it again, get friends. Finally, all he wants to do is have friends and
enjoy the things that he enjoys.
Yeah, like he just wants people who he can talk to. And then he gets roped into the bicycling club because he actually has a lot of he bicycles all everywhere.
He can do like uphill like really great, and that's how like what attracted one of the club members to him joining the club or whatever. It's been a while.
Yeah, but so it's like, and because he's like biking everywhere, he's just built up all the stamina, and he's able to bike for long distances, which is what the club actually does. And he becomes what, like, the main... He becomes basically this character who should not be in a sports anime, crammed into a sports anime.
It's great.
Amazing.
I really like it. And, like, it's one of those shows, like, I'm obviously a shipper. But
just a bit.
Yeah, but when I watch it, I can't really do it with the bike anime because they're kind of all really cute, but they're also all like 12.
They're in high school.
They're like 12. They're short as hell.
No, like 2 of them are short as hell. The rest of them are average height or super tall.
They're like 12.
I get it. They're your babies.
They're
your precious babies.
They're so precious.
Yada yada, precious cinnamon roll, etc., etc.
Yeah, I mean, like, I honestly like the friendship aspect of it, though. Like, I think they have a really great thing going on as it is, and I honestly can't bring myself to be like, oh yeah, they'll go great together romantically. I'm like, no, I like them as friends. Please keep them as friends. They're like bros. They're all bros.
Yeah, shipping is a surprisingly large aspect of sports anime. Like.
Oh yeah,
I feel like it shouldn't be sometimes, but it really ends up that way.
Well, like, if you look at it aesthetically, it makes sense. Yeah. Because they're all, like, it's anime. The main character is going to always be good looking no matter what. Or at least an aspect of good looking. Either good looking in a cute way, like, oh, you're so cute, let me adopt you as my baby. Or, oh my god, you're so hot, please let me touch your boobies.
I mean... There are man boobies in Free, but that is a topic.
That's another sports anime, but we're gonna move that towards the end because that's something else entirely. We're talking about bicycles.
Yeah, they're like, and I feel like back in the day, like say Prince of Tennis, they weren't setting up ships or anything like that.
Yeah, there was less. Purpose. Yeah, there was less queer baiting, honestly.
And no, I feel like it's not like them doing it to be like, hey, girls, watch, but it's like, hey. We're gonna let you do this if you want.
Yeah,
like, here's all the ships.
Like, when the dude that drew Prince of Tennis, he drew it because he legitimately liked tennis. Like,
yeah, and,
so he was like,
and really like Dragon Ball Z, apparently.
I guess so. Because like when you look at it, it's like, okay, yeah, because like they're not like super bishonens. Like when you look at the characters in Prince of Tennis, it's like, oh yeah, they're good looking, but you know, they're good looking because they had to be. Not because, not good looking because they had to be. They're just good looking because that's just the dude's style.
Yeah.
Not because they had to be. But, like, when you look at other sports animes, like, Free, they're good looking because they had to be.
Yeah, more recent fare does that.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at old sports anime, like...
There's less of the pretty boys and more of the dynamic of the sports and the gameplay.
Well, I mean, that's just stylistic stuff, though. That's how the genre has changed.
That's also, like, the times, too. Like, 90s anime looks totally different than, like, early 2000s to, like, the anime of right now.
90s Bishonens look nothing like modern-day Bishonens.
Yeah, 90s Bishonen was, like, Tuxedo Mask-ish.
Rurouni Kenshin.
Yeah, they had, like, their eyes were, like, bigger, and their chins were pointier, and their nose were sharper. Just saying.
Which is really good in sports anime, because then you can just stab the person with their chin.
Oh my god, have I ever talked to you about Gaku and Handsome?
Yes, you have.
For those that don't know, please just look it up, because it'll make your day so much better, or you'll be disturbed. You'll be disturbed either way. Just do it. Trust me.
Anyway, off of the topic of super pointy chins. Like, the pointiest of chins. Yeah, I kind of find that, like, I've gotten out of the, like, shippy sports anime, and I like ones that are, like, more about the sports nowadays. My favorite is Giant Killing, which is a soccer anime that is just fantastic. It is all about the team, and you become a fan of the team by watching it.
I have watched it, and I am a fan of the team. I don't think I'm too much of a fan of the pacing of the anime. Mm-hmm. That was just my issue. Like, I liked it for what it was, but I really it was really hard for me to get into. I'm surprised I finished it.
I think that's fair. Like, I read the manga for a little while, and the pacing feels slower, but I really feel the show was well done.
I think it's well done for, like, what they're trying to get across, which isn't really, like, because you don't really see a lot of them playing the sport, because you only see, like, a bit of clips and everything. Like, you see them playing, but it's not like they're not doing like a play-by-play.
Yeah, well,
play-by-play.
That's because it's not about the matches. It's about them as a team as a whole.
Because they're trying to like get back together and trying to like get back out there as like a team, like a Japanese soccer team. And it was realistic, which is something that's not like touched upon a lot in sports anime, especially like high school sports, which is basically a genre of its own, like high school sports anime and then like real sports.
Yeah, which is less done, real sports anime.
Honestly, yeah, the only one I've actually really seen was Giant Killing. Mm-hmm. I don't even know if there were any more.
I mean, there are many. Just you'd have to actually look for them. I mean,
it's like it's very niche,
I mean, one of the biggest manga of all time, Joe, the boxing manga, the really old, still running boxing manga, is
Hajime no Ippo.
Hajime no Ippo. There's two, and I always get them mixed up. But yeah, Hajime no Ippo is honestly it's a good boxing anime. It's a good boxing manga. I almost want to say it's pure. Like, it's just about boxing and the characters growing and learning it.
Yeah, like, if you're looking for that, do that. Like there's very few of it. Probably because there's not a lot of market for it, though. I
mean, it's definitely there.
It's there, yeah.
In Hajime no Ippo, the manga author killed off a character in a boxing fight. This is in the 80s, mind you. Like, 80s, early 90s. And there was an actual funeral service.
I remember this. I read about this.
Like, they had people showed up to a boxing ring wearing black with black armbands. And there was a Buddhist, monk there to facilitate the ritual. Like, this was a fictional character. This guy did not exist.
That's great.
And they had a full funeral service for him.
I kind of like that. Like, that's dedication. Yeah, that's dedication.
This was late 80s, early 90s. Weeaboos didn't exist yet.
They were the first weeaboos.
Yeah. So, it's stuff like that really makes me think real sport. I say real, but quote unquote real. But, sports anime that focuses on the sports and less on, selling stuff, I guess, less on the cute guys.
Yeah, because when you look at the Hajime no Ippo artwork, it's oh yeah, it's definitely not Mishonen.
Yeah, it's almost I almost want to say it's ugly, but it's because the guys are getting punched in the face.
I mean, you can't be pretty and be a boxer. You'll only be pretty for the first season, and then you're gonna get a broken nose.
Yeah,
and then your nose is not gonna be as pretty.
And then you fight a bear.
Yeah, and then you'll get scars.
That also happened. That wasn't a random joke. There's a guy that fought a bear once. That's where that joke comes from.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe it. It's okay. It's a manga. Anything happen.
No.
I can go to space and not die. In the manga.
Sure. Let's go with that.
What? Goku did?
You're not Goku.
So I could be.
Anyway. I actually want to talk a little bit about Kuroko no Basket, because we were
we should, because
the anime's ending soon. The manga ended a little while back.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
I
think it ended to let the anime finally end.
That's actually a good thing, because Prince of Tennis did not do that. No. They had to find an end, because it was 176 episodes.
Mm.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
So much of my high school life.
Kuroko
has a lot of similarities to Prince of Tennis in that they had a lot of impossible moves.
Yeah, it's very much superheroes playing basketball.
Yeah, but it's also you can tell it's also a little bit more modern because of how the music and how smooth the animation is. But it's there's a little bit of a kickback towards the old sports animes too because of how the dynamics of it work.
I honestly find the story of it really interesting from just a writing perspective, because the main story is that during middle school of the characters' lives, the main character Kuroko was part of a team that was nicknamed the Generation Miracles, and they were literally the best players on Earth ever.
Yeah.
Which I feel dumb saying, but no, it's actually true. They were,
and they were only in middle school.
Yeah, they were in middle school.
That puts it to perspective, just how good that team was.
Yeah. And then when they all graduated from middle school, they went their separate ways, and they all went to different schools. And Kuroko went to a small school that just started a basketball team, where he meets an American kid named Taiga.
Well, he's Japanese. He's
Japanese American.
Yeah.
And they become a combination, a duo.
Yeah.
With Kuroko as the shadow and Taiga as the light. And the show's super overdramatic and stupid.
It really is.
And basically have to fight the old team members who are all, like, impossibly strong.
It's a battle manga.
It's a battle manga. The whole thing is a battle story with basketball as the battle. But
your weapon is this basketball.
What's interesting is that it kind of starts off realistic. Like,
it does.
They have basically...
But you notice that a lot of these sports anime start off pretty realistic.
I mean...
But then it gets ridiculous.
Prince of Tennis got ridiculous really fast.
But it did start off with a couple of moves that were realistic.
No,
the reverse serve was realistic. I've actually seen videos of it being done. That's actually a real pitch, a real serve.
I will believe you only because you're a believable person.
Thank you.
I don't want to actually believe that exists.
That move exists.
Because I feel like real tennis players...
It just doesn't take that long to get to your face. It'll just go bounce upward. Like, it's a real serve. It's just not as dramatic.
God, that's insane to me. But anyway. Yeah, Kuroko, its whole thing was... There are basically 6 to 7 super monsters in this show. But everyone else is playing real basketball.
Everybody else can do basketball. It's just those 7. They're just kind of...
They're monsters. Whatever.
Yeah, they're monsters. They do their own thing. We're just over here to play.
They slowly build it up where everyone else is...
Everyone gets in the zone.
Yeah, everyone gets superpowers. They introduce the zone, which I think is really funny because...
I mean, like, it's understandable. Like, you know how when you get into the
zone is a real thing.
That's a real thing.
It's not like...
It's not a superpower.
They turn it into being a Super Saiyan, essentially. Like, honestly, their eyes have lightning.
Ryoma had something like that, remember?
Yeah, everyone had, like...
And then eventually everyone started to get it, and like, they got into their own zone. This is basically Prince of Tennis, but basketball.
Yeah.
I'm doing it again.
You are. But...
Next I'm gonna look up musicals.
It's so... Yeah, not Prince of Tennis. Kuroko no Basket. It's essentially a really good battle manga. Like, I honestly like it, but the zone, like, when they first introduced the zone, I thought it was way too ridiculous. I was like, this is bullshit. This is actually, I want to stop watching this now. I
didn't mind it if it was just Taiga.
Like,
because,
I knew
he needed something other than being, like, really loud. And
they could have given him, like, the Galaxy Dunker or some bullshit.
They could have, but they didn't, because they wanted him to be special. Like, how Kuroko was, you can't see him until he started making shots, apparently. Like, oh yeah, now I can see you, because you're actually doing something on the court.
That was interesting, but, like, that's a story thing.
Yeah, but whatever.
Like, yeah, I understand the need to give Taiga his own stuff, but, like, I feel like they didn't need to make him a Super Saiyan.
Then they took it away from him, though, because eventually Aoki got, like, Almine got into the zone, and then Purple Dude got into the zone, and, like, every fucking body can get into the zone now.
I felt
and it's really gimmicky. It was like, they were like, oh, you can only get into the zone if you really, really love basketball.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's not how it works.
Like, it kind of, like, it made a little bit of sense for, say, Almine, who used to be Kuroko's partner, and it was, like, in Taiga's spot. And, like, there's a parallel story between... Yes. There's a parallel story between Taiga and Almine. And it makes sense that he's also able to do it.
Yeah.
And I also kind of...
Because they're, like, opposite personalities, kind of, but also the same person.
But I like how they added rules to it, because, you know, this is a superpower, essentially. This is the dumbest superpower, essentially. You are Superman on the basketball court. We get it, you're dumb. But... like, and it needs, like, some rules to fit, but, yeah, the rules are very arbitrary. Like, I think they explained it really well in one of the more recent episodes, is that he can only really get into the zone when he's playing for his friends, almost. When the team is down, and he's like, I have to pull my team up with me.
So that makes a certain amount of sense.
Yeah.
And I enjoy that. But at the same time, it's like... it's whatever.
Yeah, no, it's a fault of the show. Like, it's not
really a fault, but it's not really what's, you know, the driving force.
I can't call it positive.
Yeah, it's not a positive, but it's not really a negative. It's just a thing.
Yeah, it's not a fun thing.
Let's move on to baseball, because I love my baseball boys.
You do love your baseball anime. Speaking of, like, anime that's, like, really realistic.
Big Swing is pretty realistic.
I was actually not talking about any of the baseball anime I was thinking of. Yeah, no, Big Swing is very realistic.
Because there was no, like...
The major superpower.
No superpower. It's really all in... Because they really emphasized training in that one.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of self-confidence. It's a really sweet manga. And a really great anime. Because it's not like, oh man, there's this whole team out there that's like super great. And we gotta defeat them. Mm-hmm. And now we're gonna learn superpowers and shit. And like learn these impossible baseball moves.
Yeah.
Because... It's baseball. Like, you just throw a ball and you hit it, and you run around the field. Like, how much? I mean, it's the same with tennis, I guess. But like, it's really great and it's really sweet. And they're all freshmen, so it's not like, oh man, they're all third years and they're gonna leave and I'm gonna cry.
Third year feels.
Third year feels.
But that show is actually, I feel like it's written from the opposite perspective of most sports anime. Like, they took everything that a sports anime has, a young female person who follows around the team. Instead of that, they have an actual adult person following them.
She's in her 20s.
Yeah.
And I like that.
In anime, that's an adult.
Well, in the world, it's an adult.
Shut up.
But yeah, she's young and she's kind of... She follows them and blah, blah, blah. But it's also great because it's like... It's funny because she has these huge knockers, right?
Yes.
But they don't really, like, make a joke out of it. They touch upon it, like, once, and then it's like, then they don't do it ever again because they're like, no, that's my coach, shut up, and then they stop.
Yeah, they're basically saying, no, she's a person.
Yeah, please stop that. And it's great because they're little freshmen, and they get it. And I'm just like, oh, my babies.
You are very emotionally attached to these characters.
I love them so much.
And they also know that, from a writing perspective, baseball is kind of a simple anime to do. Like,
also another fun fact: the person who draws the baseball anime is a woman. Huh. So I guess that makes sense with the whole
female coach being treated as a person instead of an object thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's usually good. That's usually a positive in any show, to be fair. From a writing perspective, they know that baseball is kind of a simple anime to do. There are a ton of baseball anime, and each one has to find some random way to like make it better. One Outs is all about gambling and breaking the rules of baseball in order to play baseball, which is a really good show you should watch. But Big Wind Up, their whole thing is character development.
Yep, character development, especially like the pitcher, because he's got like this super duper low self-esteem because his previous teammates were like super terrible to him.
They were dicks.
They were pretty much dicks. Yeah, and like, but he has really great like aim. Like, he has really great control over his pitches, even if they're like super slow. But they're only slow because he never had the opportunity to have someone coach him through, pitching better, getting their form right, until he got into the high school team, where there was actually no baseball team. Mm-hmm. They were the first one, so there was no like they don't have like any senior members to help them play along. They're all like they're just a freshman team, and it's just so cute. And like, since they're freshmen, they can lose the championship for like maybe once, nationals, and they have next year and the year after that. And it's just, I need a third season.
It's probably not gonna happen.
It's probably
There's
not.
No third season.
Don't make me cry.
There's one show we have to talk about real fast. It's running out of time. Free. The swimming anime.
Yeah, we're gonna close off on Free because gay swimming.
But I really love Free because
I liked how it came about.
I mean, yeah, I like how it comes, like, the story of it basically being, we have this, like, video showing what we can do, we want to do, but there's no, like, real, like, Free was never supposed to be made. It was like, here's a demo, here's what we can do, we're probably never going to.
I was told Free was originally a female cast.
That makes sense.
And then if they were like, oh, we're not going to do it because it's too eye-candy. It was like, oh, so we're going to do it as males instead because, hello. Yeah. I mean, why not?
The production house is Kyoto Animation, and they do moe, quote-unquote, shows, which I actually love Kyoto Animation.
Well, because you like moe, but...
Shut up. I don't like people who know that. But
oh, well, it's out in the world now. I'm not cutting this out. Editor powers.
But... yeah, so they just had a video online of, like, here's what we can do, and then people just jumped on and were like, fuck, we want to see this really badly. So it got enough hype on the internet. Like, it was more than just, like, America, because that's where, like, I heard a lot of the hype from, but it was, like, around the world, i.e. Japan.
I thought Free was really interesting, because it's less of a sports anime, though, and more of just, like, a high school high school kind of drama.
High school drama anime.
Yeah, because
comedy drama, whatever.
Because although there was like training, there wasn't like a training montage.
Yeah.
There wasn't like an actual like scene where they were actually like watching them go do the swims play-by-play.
Yeah, I mean,
it was more
it's hard
about,
to
like,
do play-by-play with swimming, though.
It's true, but it's also really hard to do that with like a lot of sports animes. But they do it anyway. They find a way. If there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah.
But it was mostly the anime was mostly for, once again, character interaction and development. That's my phone.
What were we talking about? Free. And one of the things I really liked about Free was that it actually has a great character arc in it throughout its 2 seasons, but it's done really subtly. Like,
yeah, I enjoyed that. And it's also like an anime that was predominantly third years instead of the main character being like a second year or freshman.
Yeah,
it was main character, or at least the main protagonists, were mostly third years.
Well, second years in the first season, but
yeah. I mean, like, yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm. But it wasn't like, oh, we're going to see our senpais move away. It's, oh, I have to deal with the future. I have to deal with me thinking about college and stuff like that.
Which is very realistic.
Yeah, and something they don't do in anime a lot.
Yeah, it's something they get like young adults, I guess, or
people college or high school age.
Yeah, in that age where they're about to move on, like to think about what they want to do. Mm-hmm. I mean, granted, you don't have to realize what you want to do at that early of an age.
Oh yeah, no, but I don't think that's the message of the show. The message
is like, just to start, trying to figure yourself out.
Forward almost.
No matter what.
Yeah.
Keep going forward.
And it's also incredibly realistic swimming. Like I've read stuff on the interwebs where people are like, I am an actual swimming instructor, yada yada yada, and everything in Free is 100% real swimming shit.
Well, yeah, because they didn't really do anything that deviated from actually real swimming.
I mean, like, very specific, like, the muscle development of the characters were, like, specific to X, Y, what they're good at and bad at.
I mean, have you looked at Michael Phelps? He's, like, a perfect swimmer's physique at a point of his life. I don't know if he is now.
Yeah.
But, like, if you look at a swimmer's body, they have the development because when you're underwater, you're using a lot of your muscle, and you don't even know it. So when you come out, you're just like, oh!
I meant more like Makoto and Haru's muscle development were different. Like, Makoto, because he does the backstroke, his back is more muscly.
Yeah.
Haru, because he does whatever, is different.
He's
like,
it's
very, like, it was very good in small details that you don't need for the show to be good. Which I actually always appreciate.
I think it's interesting. Only because... I don't know, I just really think it was interesting. Because I liked... one of my main things about any anime really is character development, and I thought that they had a pretty decent one. Despite
Haru's arc in the second season from the first, and
despite
Rain's
like all of the eye candy, which I did appreciate. I mean, like, I'm not saying I don't. I'm not like putting that down or anything. That's not my place to do anyway. I appreciated a lot of the drama in there too. Even though it's like a swimming anime, there was a shit ton of drama. But then you think about it, it's like, well, it is high school.
Yeah.
It is high school. Even though I never had that drama in high school myself. I avoided that.
Well, it's because you weren't part of the swimming club. If you were part of the swimming club, you would have been, like, drama central. But yeah.
Yeah. Well.
So, any, like, sports anime recommendations?
Big Swing, all the way.
Yeah, fair.
I cry about that. Big Swing's because it's pretty big. If you want to ruin your life, Prince of Tennis. Of
course. Get addicted to pot.
Yep. Kuroko's decent, if you want to watch it. It's not a bad anime, despite what I have said in the podcast so far. I like Kuroko.
Yeah.
I do keep up with it, but I have to binge it.
That's fair. I watch it weekly because it's still coming out at time of recording.
I can't do that with Kuroko because I'm just like, oh, okay. This is ridiculous. If I do that, if I give myself time to think about the anime for Kuroko, I just think it to myself, this is basically Prince of Tennis. I have to stop right now.
I'm not doing this shit again.
Not again. Never again.
For me, I recommend Giant Killing because if you want to become a fan of a sports ball team, you watch Giant Killing. Like, I'm a fan of East Tokyo United, the team in the show. If I could, I would own the jersey.
Go ETU.
ETU. ETU. One Outs is a very strange sports anime, all about, like, gambling and pitching, and it's super fucking weird. It's basically an angry looking dude with spiky hair cheating out the manager of the team. But the manager of the team is also like, I'm going to pay the opposing team to actually cheat in this game, and I'll let the Empire know, and they'll all be fine. And the guy still wins everything. It's so good and so bad.
Gotta love it.
And Free, of course, is just good. It's a surprisingly good show.
I don't know if we can even consider Free as a sports anime.
It has sports in it.
We didn't talk about Haikyuu!
We don't need to talk about it. Haikyuu is so...
Haikyuu is cute!
Haikyuu is... I recommend also Haikyuu. There you go. Haikyuu is, I consider, the perfection of what the high school sports anime genre is, but it doesn't need to be anything beyond that. It's a really good high school sports anime.
Haikyuu is
volleyball.
If you want a cute sports anime, it's Haikyuu.
Haikyuu and Big Wind Up.
And Yaomushi Pedal.
The
trifecta. For the moment.
Nice.
That's it for our sports anime podcast. This has been a pretty long first one. Signing off, I'm Steffi.
I'm Adam, and this was the FeelsCast. You can find me at MangaHead on Twitter, and probably also Tumblr. I like the name MangaHead. I use it a lot. And you can find Steph.
No, you can't. You'll never find me.
You can't find Steph.